Hey you, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. The last few days I've been designing a lot in Happy Home Paradise. I did this mostly off camera to speed up the progress of learning more and becoming a better designer, but also to unlock more items and such. In this progress I noticed that it could be quite challenging to make nice exteriors. What I ended up choosing for most of my houses was to make their exteriors fit their surroundings rather than their villages. This way it was of course how I liked it, but this also meant that most of the exteriors are very universal to use for any villagers you want. That's why I decided to share with you 10 different but easy exterior ideas that you can use as inspiration or guideline if you are also struggling with that part of the game. Do however keep in mind that these exteriors are based upon items that I have unlocked, and all exteriors in this video I will actually just be showing you in a random order and not the order that they were built. So sometimes there are more items and sometimes there are less. If you want to tour any of these houses you can do so for now, but I don't know how long it would take before I start switching them up again. You can see my Creator Code on the screen right now, and if you find any of them missing then you can always ask me. Maybe I can put them back online for you a bit longer if I haven't deleted their designs. So yeah, let's get started. Now then, first up is Savannah. She is one out of the 2 villagers that I actually used an amiibo for. I really wanted to try and make her a home with those new trees. I even believe that she was featured in the trailer, but I'm not fully sure about it anymore. I just knew that I wanted to try out and make her a nice home in this specific location. I kept her exterior very simple and decided to use the light dirt path to make some areas where the trees would go. This meant I didn't really make a specific path this time to go to the house, but rather made it look like the grass was her pathway. To fill up some of the emptiness, I placed down a few terracotta tiles from the path system, and I placed of course a few reeds and rocks around the place to make it a bit overgrown, but not too much. I kept the house as a villager-sized house and I made it into a type of hut with the red to give it a pop of color. As for any furniture items that I wanted to use outside, I had access now to the torches and the bamboo bench, so it's still quite simple, but I do think they looked quite nice in this exterior. Next up is Vesta. I actually found her as the last one on the beach and I really love her theme. It felt really family cozy, so that's why I actually placed the stroller outside. It was not a required item, but I really do think that it looks cute over there. As for other furnishings outside, I placed a log to sit on and a potted plant. The rest I filled up with some nice path patterns, trees, simple flowers, some bushes and of course some weeds. I also placed a few white fences to make it feel a bit more closed off. I also changed the hanging bridge to this wooden one. As for the house, I nearly kept it the same as the standard version, but I gave it another roof texture and a more colorful door because it seemed more homey to me. For the next exterior I used another amiibo. This time it was Anka because I really wanted to try and make her a home in the desert. I had actually chosen another lot first for her, the one that is completely flat with all the cacti in the background, but then I found out that she didn't come with the pyramids that you get from Gulliver. This I found really disappointing, but I managed to work around it by moving her to this lot instead. This lot kind of reminded me of being a pyramid, seeing it has one tier up and the incline, and now her house kind of looks like the peak, I guess. I turned the house into one of the new player house sizes, made it a bit of this sandy yellow color to keep it in a pyramid feel. As for the rest of the yard, I wasn't really in the mood for anything overgrown, so I simply placed a lot of the rune items that came with her and of course a few reeds here and there. I even placed a few vines along the cliff. Next up was one of my personal favorites that I found on the beach, which was Shep. He surprised me a bit with his theme. I was hoping to put him on a farm whilst he wanted to have a city life. I found this lot to be most fitting, seeing it feels a bit more central than the other lots. To still have this feel a bit more like a farm, I made it into a little city farm. I continued the brick path from outside the lot all the way to the house and kept the same house shape as the standard version, but with another color swatch and door. As for the trees, I used this planted tree because it felt a bit more like a city or townhouse. As for the furnishing outside, I just picked between a few items that I had already unlocked and none of them were really required. As for the wheat fields next to the house, I was just in the mood to place them down since I just had unlocked them and to give a bit more of a farm-like feel. But these areas can easily be replaced with whatever fits your villager best. I really like those greenhouse items too, and those would have fit really nice as well, I think. The next villager was Yuka. I liked his request on the beach because he wanted to have a jungle. Now for this location I thought it could look good overgrown like a jungle, of course. So I placed a few palm trees and bamboo trees in different sizes. I also placed a few bushes and weeds, and for flowers I actually placed some green mums. I also placed more vines along the cliffs and some rocks as well. The big boulder next to his house is a glowing wheat item that I recolored to be grey. As for the furnishing, I placed a few of those vines items that your villagers can sit on and placed the one chair that Yuka wanted to have. I couldn't find a place for that item inside, so I thought it could look outside with the new color swatch of the house. It fitted really nicely. The hut itself again is one of the new player house sizes. Next up is Sucker. His theme was a bit more complicated, seeing he wanted to have a festival ground. But he didn't unlock any festival items. So I just decided to give him a tropical beach instead. On this beach I chose to avoid placing the house too near to the water. As for the items, I kept it quite limited and clean looking since it only has beach and no grass. I placed a few different sized palm trees and some weeds and bushes as well. I really wish I could place some of those bushes on my own beaches of my island, but that is still not allowed as far as I know. I also placed a few rocks, and as for other furnishing pieces I placed the sandcastle, 2 towels and the new yacht boat. I also dropped a few shells along the water edge so it wouldn't be so empty on that side of the lot. I don't have the floaties yet, otherwise I would have placed one of them too. For this next lot I could finally make a proper farm. It was for Tipper, who wanted to have a ranch. She actually had an item that was supposed to go outside, but I ended up using it inside, so the entire farm can again function for whomever. I placed a few trees in the field and a bamboo fence with a few bushes around the edge. For the items I placed that windmill, 2 scarecrows, 1 silo and the tractor. I filled up the rest with those same wheat items that I had used for Shep, and that are not real crops, of course. I also made a simple path towards the house using a light dirt path that I believe was already outside the lot as well. And I placed some terracotta pots under the house to round it off a bit more. Here I even placed a set of wooden shoes to give it a bit more detail. The next house is again for a villager that I found on the beach, which is Angus. I really liked his idea of having a lighthouse vacation home, so for that I chose this little island with a big rock next to it. On that big rock I actually placed one of the items that Angus wanted to have outside, simply because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. As for the tiny island, I placed of course the lighthouse and made it match the vacationing house, so both are now white. I also placed a few random furnishings to make it look a bit more cozy. And as for plants, I had only room for 1 palm tree, so the rest is filled up with weeds, bushes and a few rock and log stakes. The second last house I have to show is one I made for O'Hare. He wanted a tropical paradise, so he did get this tiny island for himself. There was again not much room here, so I only placed 2 different size palm trees, a few bushes and a few weeds. As for furnishings, I believe he unlocked a few of those beach items for me, so I gave him the poolside beds combo and a little towel. I did also make his hut into a bit of a brighter color just to make it a bit more fun. You can easily change the color to fit whatever village you want, of course. Lastly is the home of Birch. Now he wanted to have an expansive place, but I wasn't feeling that for the outside. I still kept it clean and elegant to kind of go with that idea. Here I had more space to work with, so I played more with the paths. As for the plants, I kept it quite neutral with only a few white flowers, and those purple bushes are the main pop of color. I also placed a few vines along the cliff and white lattice fencing here and there. I also placed quite a few trees in different sizes. And as for furnishing, I placed the garden wagon near the incline, and I placed some white iron garden table and chairs, and of course the white kids tent, just because I really like that one. I also placed my favorite potted plant and also the floating plant, but both near the house to give it a bit more of a lived-in look. And with that, this video is over. Again, you can still tour these houses for a little while by using my Creator Code. Of course, I'm only allowed to show 10 houses here, so if I've started to replace some of them and you really wanted to tour a specific house, then you can always let me know. Then I can see if I'm able to put them back online for a bit longer. For now, I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever I post something new. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope I see you next time. Bye bye!